Alright, so we're here. We're at the north end of Chehalis Lake. Oh, so funny, I pull up and so there's some spots along the riverbank, the river that drains, I guess it drains into the lake. I can't, yeah, it does, it drains into the lake. And then there's more sites here along the lakefront, I guess. So I'm gonna go down here and have a look. But I pulled up and there's a four-wheel pop-up camper, which is what I have, like on the second spot coming in here. So the guy walks over, he waves at me, and of course, you know, I gotta stop and say hi, and he goes, first thing he says, "You gonna go down and die for some garbage?" And I go, "Oh, you recognize my rig?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course." So obviously somebody who's seen my video, which is awesome. So I told him to maybe pop by later for a beer, but I'm gonna drive down here and see what this looks like. Man, this place is like amazing here. So I came in from that direction and there's a little split off that way, and then there's more road in front of me. The lake's actually in front of me, so I'm gonna drive towards the lake and see what I can find. My goodness, what a beautiful, beautiful view. Right, so I think there's lots of spots all by the river down there, but I think I'm gonna take this right here, because why not? What a beautiful, beautiful spot. So first order of business is I gotta get some firewood going, because even though the sun doesn't set until 8 o'clock now, it's a little bit cloudy, overcast, and the sun's still out. I got about less than 30 minutes of daylight left. You guys know that trick, right? You take your hand and you extend it like as far out as you can. Each finger is 15 minutes. So if you take it out to the horizon at your full arm length and you kind of go, that's 15 minutes daylight, 30 minutes of daylight. So if I do that, that's less than 2 fingers, so about 25 minutes of sunlight, direct sunlight, and then the sun will drop below that ridge right there. This ridge behind me. This ridge behind me. So there's a fire pit right here already. So there's a fire pit right here, and kind of looks like we got lots of firewood right here on the beach. Lots of dry stuff. So one of the first videos I ever made was about, or not about, but in the video itself I talked about fire pits. So in this area that I'm parked at, there is 1, 2, there is 3, 4, 5, and then the one that I'm in, which is number 6. There's 6 fire pits, and then there might even be more on that side over there. There's 6 fire pits on the same campsite. I don't understand that. I mean, I used the one just on the beach here. Oh yeah, there's another one over there. There's 8. There's 8 fire pits. I don't understand the need to have 8 separate fire pits within 25 feet of each other. It seems kind of unnecessary to me. That fire pit is like 5 feet away from the other one. It's like, why do you need? That's so funny. So dinner tonight is some macaroni and cheese, Annie's pasta. I've got a pretty easy meal, and then I'm gonna make some bacons to go with it. Just as much for me as it is just give the kids a bit of a treat. Daisy is laying down in front of the truck and Maggie is laying here on the sand. I've got her chair out, but she's not sitting in it yet, but I'm sure she'll get in it when she wants to. So this used to be a wreck site. I don't know much about this area. This is definitely my first time here. But apparently this used to be a wreck site, so you can kind of vaguely see all the different pads, but it's not well defined. It's really rustic. I guess it must have been a long time ago. Yeah, there's lots of people like by the river, and then I saw some people walking on the beach. I'll take you guys for a walk tomorrow along the side there. But yeah, I'm gonna cook some dinner, just sit and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful view. Just lovely. Look at that. Perfect bacon. Nom nom nom. Oh, yes. What a beautiful morning. Look at this. It is just absolutely glorious out here. Normally in the winter time I sleep in so much more, but it's hard to sleep in when the sun is just hitting the camper. Everything is bright. Oh, the furnace kicked out pretty early just because it was so warm inside the camper. Got the coffee steeping right now. All around me I can hear, up in the hills here, I can hear the air horn, beeping of air horns, and every now and then you hear a crashing of trees. Like when I drive up here often, I'm passing like a dozen logging trucks, so you got to be really careful on the road. But yeah, I can hear the air horns beeping. I'm assuming it's must be some kind of signal for the faller to let the skidder know, but it's echoing off of everything, so it's kind of hard to tell where it's coming from. Well, if this trip is an experiment to see if it's possible to bring a dive gear in here to do some diving, do some cleanup diving, I would say this is a roaring success. Christ, I'll get in here any day. My goodness. So Gunter is still here. Not sure if he's up. He's got to be up. If he's anything like my mom is in her 80s and she's up at 4 in the morning, so there's more campers over there. You can see the campfire. I don't think I'll get a fire going just yet because I want to take the dogs and just go for a little walk around here, just see what the other campsites are like. But if all these spots here along the beach, if this is what it's like, I don't know if I want to bother camping into the bush. I know that the sites along the river, the other guy, James, with the other four-wheel pop-up camper, he's like site number 2, I think it is, or something like that. The first 1 or 2 site along the river, and that's really nice as well too. But we'll be diving, so we need to be next to this lake versus along the river. So I was just walking along the beach, and I just picked up all these. This is a single Corona bottle, shattered Corona bottle. This was just in the sand, right? So you know how they say don't bring glass drink bottles onto a pool deck? It's because you drop your glass and
shatters on the pool deck and you cut your bare feet, I'm absolutely positive that there's kids running around on a beach like this and bare feet going for a swim, right? They're gonna get that right in their foot. So yeah, if you can come out here, bring cans, and if you do break something, pick it up. Man, like somebody's foot's gonna get cut up. So while we're talking about getting our foot cut up, why don't we talk about what I do for emergency preparedness here right at camp. So with the idea, or in my mind, is that if you get injured, so let's say for example I stepped on a piece of glass just like that and I get my foot cut up, you want to make sure your first aid kit is super handy. So because it's just me at camp, there's no one else here, my first aid kit is actually sitting in my passenger seat. So sitting right there, because I know I don't have to go very far to go get it. I can essentially just stumble or hop my way to the truck, open the passenger door. You gotta make sure the door isn't locked either, because you don't want to be fumbling for keys. If I'm with a group, this first aid kit actually goes right here on the windshield where it's readily visible. If I'm at camp, and anyone can just run up there and just grab the first aid kit, ready to go. And then the other thing is a lot of people use InReach or something similar. Spot, I guess, is the other one, but what I use is what's called an EPIRB, which is a Canadian invention. It is an emergency response thing. I'm not sure what EPIRB stands for, but essentially it's meant for it was actually originally invented for marine use. Like, so if a boat is under stress, they press a button and signal goes to the closest military place, and the military would decide who has to send the rescue, who's the closest to send the rescue. Let me show you. So this is my EPIRB. This one's called a Rescue Link. It's made by ACR, and what's interesting about this little unit is this little antenna pops out and essentially just goes towards the sky, and it says right on the unit, make sure antenna is aimed towards clear sky. So if it's like laying on the ground, it basically sends a less signal. And this is it. It weighs just a few grams or a few ounces, and it's about the size of a computer mouse. So this actually gets clipped to my belt. And I just walk around with this like all the time. So that way, the idea is if I'm injured, I'm likely to be further away from this. Like for example, I used to put this in my backpack inside the camper. But think about it, if I'm running my chainsaw, like, you know, a few hundred meters over to gather firewood, and I cut myself and I'm like bleeding out and I can't even get to my truck, never mind anything else. So having this on you, on person all time is a good idea. The difference between the Rescue Link, a device like InReach or Spot, is that this actually is not a GPS device. It does not give, it does not know where it is. What it does is it sends a particular, when you turn it on, when you activate, to activate you press it for 1 second and that's it. When you turn it on, it simply sends a tone to all the satellites that are floating around out there, and it uses all the military satellites. So what happens is that all the military satellites, they triangulate and they figure out where the tone is coming from. That information goes to the closest military base. For me locally, it would be the Canadian naval base, Navy base, military base, whatever you want to call it. I don't actually know what it's called. The Canadian base out of Comox, which is on Vancouver Island. But from there, they can say, and their monitoring station, hey, we have an EPIRB that's given us a tone. I'm at Chehalis Lake right now. The military will send out the information to probably the RCMP, who in turn will send out to the Chilliwack Search and Rescue. And they would determine who to send out, probably the search and rescue. So the other thing as well as too is that every EPIRB has to be registered federally. They can look on my file and say, okay, well, he is a truck camper, because that's what my information says. If you're a trail runner, like a long distance trail runner, they can say, oh, well, he's on the side of a mountain, he's trail running. Okay, well, we know who to send or what kind of equipment to send, roughly guessing, right? So now, why did I choose this? Well, this unit, and I didn't look it up before I came, but I want to say this is like around $350, $400 Canadian, with no membership, no monthly membership, and it's free to register. Mandatory register, but it's free with the federal government. There's no fee. You change the battery out once every 5 years, which I just did a week ago. So it's got a fresh battery in here, and it cost me $160. So basically, my initial investment of like $350, $400, and then every 5 years it's $160. So whereas InReach and Spot, the monthly membership, it's quite expensive. And now it's really cool if you need Spot or InReach to message your family to let them know where you are, or you can text them, right? You can say, hey, send beer, right? But the thing is that I don't do that. Like I filed my trip plan, so my family and my friend, my emergency contact, knows where I am. I've given them the exact coordinates of where I'm supposed to be, and I have no need to message them in between to say, okay, send beer, or send help, whatever. It doesn't matter. I have one button push. If I slice my leg open, I'm bleeding out, I push the one button and somebody's coming, and that's all there is to it. So that's why I use this. But for other people, maybe getting weather information and messaging your family is important, then you can go with the other devices. You want to cut it or want me to cut it?
No, just you cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too bad, huh?
It's not too bad. No, for emergency use,
For
not bad at all.
battery one, you know.
Yeah.
They say you can cut 150 for 4x4s.
So this is a 160 watt hour and runs as a 4 amp battery. This one here is a Greenworks. He buys this from Canadian Tire, I think. Obviously the big boys, the Steels and the Husqvarnas, like all those guys that make battery power ones, there's going to be a lot more powerful, but in an emergency this works. Definitely not as quick. It cuts about half the speed. So I just did a little walk around my campsite here, just in the area I'm in. So I picked up some plastic wrappers, some bottle caps. I cleaned up all of that broken glass earlier as much as I could see, coffee cup, picked up somebody else's dog poo, bits of plastic and all that. And this is all of the beer cans that I picked up on the drive here. So 40 drink containers, all discarded on the side of the road, that the forestry service road, that on the way in. It's kind of silly, isn't it? I mean, I said this before, like, why would you do that? I mean, the only people driving on this road, I mean, these aren't your average tourist, so to speak, right? So the only people that are driving on this road is either the loggers, the sawyers, or people like us. Like, who else is here? So if you're gonna come and camp here, why would you not take care of it? It's yeah. It's just kind of interesting. Take a drink, hawk on the side of the road. Is that a thing? Am I supposed to do that? Did I not get the memo? Man, that was a hot day today. I can't believe it didn't occur to me to be in my bathing trunks. Not that I would have wanted to get in all the way, because that water is cold. I waded in just to kind of to my knees, just to cool off a few times, kind of splash some water on my face and stuff, right? Because it was hot. There's no shade or anything like that. And yeah, we just hung out here. So James and his friend from up the road there, the other guy with the 4-wheel camper, they kind of parked down here for the day. I think it was taking some photos and such. We just had an interesting conversation. Just kind of hung out the afternoon, and finally it cooled off enough for me to start my cooking fire. So tonight is salmon glazed with brown sugar on some bacon. I'll show you guys in a minute. But yeah, finally the sun had set behind the ridge, cool enough for me to even stand by the fire because it's so hot. Okay, so on to the evening festivities. The next thing we do is we'll cut up some onions to onions go on top of the bacon. Some nice pieces here, and that'll go on top. I'm going to put 2 pieces on because I'm hungry. If you're making this meal for a whole family, you can do like a whole fillet, like a whole side of salmon, obviously. So now I'm going to take some brown sugar and just put the brown sugar on top of the salmon. And then I just happen to have, so normally I would put some dill weed on there, but I forgot the dill weed. So I think I've got this sort of mixed spice here, and then there's one here specifically for seafood. I don't actually know what's in it, but that's fine, whatever. Oops. We'll sprinkle some of that on there. You can also put some sliced lemon on here, but I forgot the lemon, so that's what it'll look like. And then we're just gonna bundle this up. And this whole thing will go on top of the grill for, I don't know, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So somebody threw out a barbecue, and this grate was on the burner side, so not a cooking grate, but it's in mint condition. It's perfectly fine. So I think I'll just throw my fish over that. In the meantime, I gotta get some of that coal. Oh, this good looking cooking coal here. Gotta get that over here. You know, I mean, this. And just go over that. There you go. The salmon can go on top of that. So I think that'll just go on like so. So if you're doing this in an oven or a barbecue, so probably like 350 for 30 minutes, I guess. I don't know, 25, 30 minutes, something like that. So it's been about 15 minutes and I can hear the package sizzling. So I know it's cooking. I can smell the caramelized onion and all that stuff wafting. So I think I'm good. I'm gonna take this off the fire now. Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's cooked. Check the salmon to make sure it's flaky. Yep. It's all flaky. All right, let me plate this and let me show you what it looks like. There's dinner. We've got a couple of salmon fillets, the bacon with the onion, and then obviously the whole thing was I think I had a little bit of that seafood spice mix, and then as well as brown sugar to sweeten the whole thing up. You could just do salt and pepper, and the only thing I kind of forgot is the lemon wedges, which you just put on top of the whole thing and wrap it in the tinfoil as well too. Oh man, let's try a bite. Yeah, it's definitely cooked. There you go. Oh, that's good. The bacon will have the flavor of the onion as well as the salmon right in there as well too. There you go. It's perfect. Well, you can probably hear the rain pitter-pattering on the roof. It was raining really hard before I got out of bed. I was just kind of laying around going, oh man, like I'm hoping it would just go away, but I don't, it's pretty socked in. But you know what's pleasant? It's pretty warm outside actually, and had my coffee. Pretty much got the camp all packed up. Put away or bagged up all the garbage that I found and all the beer cans and all that stuff. Pretty much going to drop the top now, and on my way out of camp I'm going to drop off all the extra firewood that I have, and I'm going to give it to James, the guy just up the road with the other four-wheel pop-up camper. And yeah, that's another one in the books. Thanks guys, thanks for your support, and I will see you guys in the next video.